In this video, I'm going to share key reasons to invest in Elon Musk, the world's greatest engineer, businessman, and entrepreneur combo of our lifetimes. Just imagine if you could rewind the clock and invest in Steve Jobs' company, Apple, 20 years ago. You would have done pretty great, right? Back in 2015, I had the opportunity to intern at Tesla and then do another internship a couple years later on their charging infrastructure team. I felt like I had a peek inside the company where I got to peel the curtains back and see how capable these engineers are. I felt like I got to see Elon's greatest skill in practice, his ability to inspire others. At Tesla specifically, he's able to attract and retain top talent from around the world because he cultivates a work environment that empowers engineers to produce their best work. There aren't layers of bureaucracy to prevent them from making good progress. Tesla's mission is to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. And by keeping that broader company mission as their North Star, employees are more easily able to go in and day out and work extra longer hours just because they're passionate about that company mission. Tesla is an excellent company to invest in for the long term. And the primary reasons for that are that they currently have top engineers and employees from around the world. And if they ever leave or get fired, Tesla still has a talented pipeline of engineers and employees to replace them. Elon's created an excellent work environment at Tesla and his other companies, where employees hit the trifecta. They're not only highly intelligent and communicate well, but they're also extremely passionate about the company mission. My name is Ryan Tanaka, and I create educational videos about investing, the economy, and business. I also have a portfolio challenge where I'm trying to get to $1 million by July 1st, 2025. And by the end of it, I'm going to be giving away 3 Teslas, so make sure to subscribe if you're interested in one of those. The legacy media likes to spread this false narrative that Elon inherited a bunch of money from an emerald mine that his dad owned. That's simply not true. Instead, at a young age, Elon created a simple video game called Blastar. He grew up in South Africa and then moved to Canada for college. After transferring to UPenn in the United States, he graduated and then was going to start his PhD at Stanford University. After only 2 days, he decided to drop out and start an internet company called Zip2. He coded the first maps and directions on the internet. You can think of it as like MapQuest, but before MapQuest existed. He then sold that with his brother in 1999 to then start another company called PayPal. Of course, PayPal eventually got sold to eBay for a bunch of money, and then he used that money to start Tesla and SpaceX. Throughout all of these years, there were plenty of doubters, and there still are to this day, about Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, X.AI, and Boring Company. And when I think about what Elon's accomplished, I can't help but compare him to other tech visionaries like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Steve Jobs. And this takes me back to 2011, when I was a junior in high school, and I began intently following the stock market and learning as much as I could about business. I couldn't believe that, and I was fascinated by this idea, and still am fascinated by this idea, that you could own a small sliver of these giant multinational corporations that conduct business all around the globe. And they all started from these small little seedling ideas in these visionary brains. Now, at that time in 2011, it had been a few years since the iPhone had come out, and I could see the progress that they had been making just anecdotally with my high school classmates. And I could see that Apple was dominant. However, I had never used the product, and I was a total stock market novice, so I knew nothing about balance sheets, income statements, or cash flow statements. So I invested the little I could, which at the time I thought was a lot, but it was around $1,000 invested in Apple, and I think Chipotle, Panera, Verizon, and I was also considering investing in Amazon. But I decided against it because I was watching CNBC, other financial news channels, and also reading a bunch of articles that said Amazon was structurally unprofitable and that they may never turn a profit, and therefore the business was overvalued. Of course, in hindsight, this is ridiculous. Amazon was definitely structurally profitable. They were just reinvesting as much as they could into the business. They didn't have AWS at the time, but it would have been great to just know anecdotally what was happening and recognize that everybody, including myself and my family and my closest friends, were all using Amazon's services, and same thing with Apple products. And we could have just all closed our eyes and bought the stock. And I think this approach actually has a lot of merit. if you can just take a step back and take the broadest view possible of which company creates the best products and services that you use, that your family uses, that your friends use, it's more likely that every incremental customer is also going to love those products and services. And then think about which companies have the visionary leaders, and then just think about where those two companies intersect. In my view, they clearly intersect with Tesla. Elon Musk is a visionary leader, and Tesla creates products and services that I love. It's just so important to keep it as simple as possible, because if you think of visionary leaders like Larry Page, Mark Zuckerberg, Reed Hastings, or any of the other guys that I mentioned before, then of course the portfolio constructed of those companies would have performed amazingly. Think of Netflix, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Tesla. These companies all perform excellent. Now, I want to be clear, the reason I invest everything I can in Tesla is because I think Elon is an order of magnitude or two better than these other tech visionaries in terms of execution and ability to produce the best products and services. Now, I think there are plenty of nuanced reasons for this difference, but let's just consider what the results have been. In the case of Tesla, Elon's made it so that Tesla has accelerated the advent of sustainable transportation far faster than GM or Ford, Toyota, or Volkswagen could do. And then in the case of SpaceX, he's made it so that rockets are now rapidly reusable. This is a huge game changer. Imagine if you had to get on an airplane that was not reusable. The cost of flying would be so exorbitant that you would basically never fly. And in the case of Starlink, which is part of SpaceX, they've made it so that rural areas can now have high-speed internet. This is a total game changer. You're able to go from basically having no internet to having total digital freedom and total opportunity access to plenty of educational resources that are freely available. And then in my opinion, Elon's most positively impactful company, Neuralink. Neuralink is working on resolving all brain and spine disorders. Imagine if there were no more pain and suffering in the world due to memory loss, hearing loss, vision loss, depression, or paralysis. What a different world we would live in. How much better would it be for those individuals and their closest family and friends? Neuralink has already started human trials and demonstrated successful implantation earlier this year. They've enabled a paralyzed patient to control a computer with just his mind. This enables a whole nother level of digital freedom that he never had before, and it decreases the burden on his family.
My name's Nolan. I'm obviously the first person with the Neuralink implant.
If you're interested in learning more about Neuralink and keeping up to date with their progress, I have another channel that covers all things related to Neuralink that you can follow here. It's called Neurapod. And of course, Elon has other companies as well. He has X, which was formerly Twitter. He bought Twitter because he thought it would be an accelerant for his original vision for X.com. He thought that you could combine a social media platform with a payments platform to create the world's largest digital bank. This is what he's doing with X, the Everything app. He wants to make it so that creators can make a living on the platform. He wants to make it so that you can buy and sell goods and services. And he and the team are quickly adding features so that you can message each other securely, and you can find your next date or spouse on the app. You can also find your next job on the app. Most of these features are part of the original X.com vision, but I'm seeing there's another additional benefit that I didn't originally see. X is one of the very few social media platforms that is not overly unjustifiably censoring people. Oftentimes, the censorship and overreach was blatant, but creators and the media couldn't really do anything about it, so they just stayed silent. But X has been a great forcing function, causing the media to be more honest and transparent. And same thing with other platforms. In order to stay competitive, they have to not overly, unjustifiably censor people. Okay, I kind of went on a tangent there, but let's take a step back and recap all this. Elon has the dominant company in so many different industries, in a wide variety of industries. Take, for example, the automotive industry, where Tesla is the global leader in electric vehicles and self-driving vehicles, which will become the dominant vehicle type in the future. He has the dominant company in the space industry in SpaceX, which is creating rapidly reusable rockets, and also Starlink, which has provided high-speed internet to rural areas around the globe. Think about if you're a rural village in Africa and you didn't have any internet access, and now you have super high-speed access at a low cost. Now you have access to education and therefore opportunity and freedom that you never had before. He also has the dominant company in the brain-machine interface space in Neuralink. Same thing with the best social media platform with X, and Boring Company and X.AI as well. When you think about the visionary tech leaders of the past couple decades, Elon clearly tops them all. If you have more questions or thoughts about what I should have added in this video, please comment them below and follow and subscribe for more of this type of content. Thanks for watching.